Hey guys, it's your girl Kizzy Rock. And yes, Kizzy Rock is my birth given name. Happy second recording on this Tuesday. So I went to get an oil change, but they decided that I needed a alignment. So they brought me home. So I'm checking some emails. And I wanted to respond to this email. I want to say hey to all my subscribers, new as well as seasoned. I got a word for you. Tap in. So I haven't. You guys know I never call names or anything. I mean, if you guys decide to comment on the recordings and say, hey, it's me, that's all up to you. But never, ever, ever will I ever call a name or anything of that sort when I am responding to an email. But I want to say really quickly, anybody that's ordained to be in your life, ordained to speak into your life, this can be a spouse, this can be a pastor, this can be a mentor, this can be whoever. If that person is ordained to speak into your life, there's a spiritual connection there, right? So the things that you're lying about or are telling untruths about and things like that, right? Even just maybe things that you will sweep under the rug and you don't deem them to be a lie, that person already knows. They already know. They may just not say anything to you. Most times they won't. That's really sometimes not their job. It's God's job to convict them. And let me tell you, God will convict your spirit so bad that you can't even sleep. I remember like a year and a half ago, I did something. It was petty. It was really petty. It was nothing major. But my point is, even the petty things will eat at your spirit so bad. So I had done something or didn't tell something, I should say. It was so petty. So I kind of swept it under the rug, right? And this person is a person who's ordained to be in my life. And when I tell you, my spirit convicted me so bad, my conscience was on fire that I had to come back and confess, right? And in your mind, you're just thinking like the person knows. And again, most times they do know. So when I came back to just have this meeting of the minds, this honest moment, before I can even address it or attempt to apologize, I'm already a sobbing mess because, again, that's what conviction is all about. And it was the pettiest thing. So with that being said, sis, I already knew. I promise you I already knew, but it's not my job to bring it to your attention until you bring it to my, because I already know, but once you bring it to my attention, because see, the whole thing is God needs to deal with you first. But I also want to say this to you and to a lot of you. Please don't feel like you're the scum of the earth when you slip up and you go back to X, or you slip up back into somebody's bed, you slip up and you sin in the very thing that you repented for. Please don't feel like you're the scum of the earth, because that's also a trick of Satan, meaning you almost feel so condemned and like you're so worthless to the point where I might as well just stay in this bed. I've already, I might as well just stay here and just stay. If anybody's real enough, and this is why I only deal with authentic people who are transparent, they will tell you they've been there. So some people are speaking specifically from spirit and then also from experiences. That's definitely me speaking from both parts. Sometimes it's spirit driven, spirit led, where I had no experience in, and then sometimes it's experiences. But at the end of the day, nobody is perfect. So once you repent and you ask God for forgiveness, then you get yourself up and you get back rooted and you get back grounded. Don't let Satan win. I always say the flesh will never, ever, ever win against a narcissist. The narcissist is a spiritual demonic force. They're demonic. So your flesh will never win against that. You got to conquer that thing in the spiritual realm. So I'm going to read this email. First of all, the subject line, you guys know, like the emoji that has like the slapping of the forehead, like oh my goodness, that type of thing. So it's like 1,000 of those emojis in the subject line. So I already knew what it was initially, but you just confirmed even more than the subject line. So I'm going to start this off. Miss Kizzy, speaking of Miss Kizzy, I used to question why do people call me Miss Kizzy, because there's people who are much more older than I am, and it's like they always address me Miss Kizzy, and I used to be like, that's a little uncomfortable. And then someone had to bring to my attention that when people address you Mrs. or Mr., it's also showing a sign of respect and honor. So we got to stop, some of you as well, because I've seen some of you say that too about yourself. We got to stop looking at it as someone's calling me Miss or Mr. because I'm old. It's more about honor and respect. And I appreciate you guys. But please feel free to call me Kizzy. All right. Okay, Miss Kizzy, I slipped up with a bunch of those crying faces, right? On Tuesday night, the narc came by. I haven't heard from him since August, and I thought I was strong enough to just lay everything down on the table about how I felt, the hurt, the pain, the lies, and the cheating. Because remember, I told you, every time he will come over and apologize, fake begging, I would just be like, no, and sit quiet listening to his lies. I couldn't cry, and I couldn't tell him how it really made me feel. So when he came over, bear with me, guys, because I'm going through my phone in this email. So when he came over Tuesday night, I told him. And I was crying. He held me and kissed me, and boom, in the bed. First of all, sis, you done been slipping by letting him in the front door. You done been slipping by kissing? Honey, you already know what time. Listen. Okay. All right, so boom. We're in the bed. Slapping emoji forehead. I know, Miss Kizzy, my flesh was so weak. Since I told you, flesh cannot compete against spiritual battle. All right. We talked all night. He said he wants to do counseling and get married. Listen, I'm gonna try to get through this email without cutting out of the email. But honey, flashback. Let me tell you. Okay. Dudes will sit here and want to go to counseling. They want to go talk to your mama, talk to the pastor. They want to do every single thing that we asked them to do in the beginning. But when they're trying to get back in, these are the things that they claim they want to do. And they don't even want to do it. It's all about trying to get back in the door. Okay. Kizzy, get back to the email. I told him I had to think about it. So the next morning, he took me to his little vintage breakfast spot. It was so nice. I know, maybe his new chick must have took him there. But anyway, he said he liked the little espresso coffee they have. I'm like, okay. I then call off work and everything, Miss Kizzy, slapping emoji forehead, just to spend time with this man and listen to some of his lies, more lies. He talks about buying me the truck I wanted and all the good stuff and how much he missed me, and he'll change his number if I want him to. It was sounding good. I didn't really say much. I'm just listening. He works in the evening, so he said he was just going back to work from being out due to injuring his hand. Oh, he was just going back to work from being out from injuring his hand. So I dropped him off at work, and he was like, I love you. And he told me to call him. Remind you, I never gave him my new number. Them times he was begging for my number too. I found out how he's the master of manipulation tactics. He uses master manipulation tactics by texting. So I'm like, okay, Miss Kizzy. Later that Wednesday night, I got up around 12ish or 1 a.m. Around the time I knew he would be getting off work. When I realized he didn't come by, which he never said that he would, I just assumed he would since he was trying to get back in. And then I found a whole pack of cigarettes he left and a wrist bandage that he used to support his wrist. I just knew he needed these items, so I'm thinking he'll definitely come back. But he didn't. When I tell you I cried, 1,000 crying faces emojis, like a baby all night until it was time for me to go to work that morning. I didn't get any sleep. I cried out to God. Oh OMG. I text my apostle and told her what I did. She had me to repent. I confessed my sin to God and I fasted. I started my fast Friday and I just ended it Sunday. Still haven't heard from him. But I felt like he came back to redo the soul tie and hoping I will call. But Miss Kizzy, I will not let him take my soul again. I had to cast that thing down. And God haven't said anything yet. All I was thinking about was you saying, if you go back to that thing that broke you, you could lose God's grace. Truly, I fear God. Mrs. Kizzy, I slipped up, but I don't want to go back. I want to be still and wait on true, real love. Being still is the hardest thing I've ever had to do. And yes, it does trigger that trauma. Okay, sis. I'm going to address a few things. When I want to make sure when I clarify and say that we have to be careful that grace isn't lifted, meaning, please, like, don't be like in your head thinking like, oh my God, God's going to this and this and that. I don't know. You don't know when grace can be lifted. I mean, grace is always on us, but God will take his hands off of us at certain times when he have been clear about something. Now, this is why I don't struggle too much in this area, only because I'm so obedient. Now, there are some other areas that I may not have a lot of strength in, but my obedience is that area. So again, if God tells me to leave somebody alone, to remove something, if I don't even get it, it got to go, because so I don't struggle too much in that area. So I don't think that God has removed his grace off of you now. I was just speaking in general when I made that recording, that we have to be careful, because it can become a point where God have told us over and over to leave something alone in X, Y, and Z. That's just my personal opinion. Truly an opinion. All right. So I'm going to scroll back up to try to, go through some things or whatever. All right. So again, yes, I did tell you, you would never win a physical battle with a spiritual battle, right? Now, we all know the game. Listen. Every single thing you've ever asked to do during that relationship. You've asked him to change the number. You've asked him to do this. You've asked him to communicate better. You've asked him to go to counseling. You ask him all these things that they will never do within the relationship. But the minute you leave them, now they're willing to do all this stuff, right? And it's not even that they're willing to do it. They're telling you that just to get back in. Now, let me be also clear about something. I'm not the chick who's going to sit here and tell you that all men are the same and all men are dogs. I'm not that chick. I promise you. Because I've had both. I've had a great man and I have had a fool. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you that, all men are running game. But this message is game, period. So anyway, so now he's telling you all these things just to get back in. Right? And he did. First thing first, if you're going to ever even slip up and try to fall for that, let's have a conversation thing that used to come up, or let's go to dinner thing, right? Make sure you're out. You can't be sitting here thinking you can bring somebody up in your own home or personal space, or even in their home, even in the car, anything that's going to bring that intimate feel, and think you can get yourself out of that fire once it started, right? So it's more about preventing that. So we're going to meet at Waffle House or at the little coffee shop that y'all went to after the fact. Then you got more of leverage if you even choose to have a conversation with a narcissist. Personally, if it's a narcissist, I don't even want a conversation, because they're so good. They're so good at love bombing you that they're going to suck you right back in. So really, about a narcissist, the best thing is no contact, because you're not going to win against them. But again, we're fleshly beings. You gave in. So if you're going to just even consider a conversation, it needs to be in a place where you need to be in the middle of a highway where there's 1,000 people around. Like, you just, All right. So anyway, but whatever, you start kissing. Okay, listen. Start kissing them, boom, we're in the bed. Now, honey, that probably was the best sex of the entire relationship. Trust me. He chose to put it down like he's never put it down before. We're all growing here. Y'all probably rebuking me, but we're all grown here. Like he's never ever put it down before. And trust me, that's for a reason. Any other time, he probably fallen asleep in 3 minutes, honey. But this time, listen. Okay. Let me tell you. All right. Okay. Back on topic, Izzy. Back on topic. Where's the topic? I've lost the topic. Ooh, child. Okay, where am I? So I was crying. He held me, kissed me, then boom. Okay, here we go. My flesh is weak. We talked all night. He said, you constantly get married. Now he wouldn't get married. Honey, please. Okay. Oh, listen. Child, when you said y'all went to the coffee spot, nice little spot, and his new chick must have taken him there, then that already tells me right there, you know. That tells me, you know. He don't really, you know. Well, I ain't gonna say that. I don't disrespect him. But let's see here. He talked about buying me a truck, all the stuff. Yeah, all that's love bombing. The buying the truck, the getting married, all that stuff is love bombing, basically. I didn't say much. I was listening to you from being dropped. Now, this is what I really was looking for and wanted to address. You said that you assumed he would be coming back the next day when he got off work because he was, quote unquote, trying to make things right. Now, this is where a lot of females get it wrong at. We assume, right? You can't hold him responsible for what you assume. That's how we think. We think, well, we're going to try to make it right. I'm going to be present. I'm going to show up. I'm going to do this. That's how we as women think. This is where a lot of problems come in. And I've been guilty of this. I won't even lie. We're sitting here thinking that we think like how men think. Yes, logically, as a woman, if you're really trying to really get back and prove to me that you really want to make things work, then you would be present. But you done gave him, so he already back in. He don't have to try to get back in. You done gave him the monkey, right? So he don't have to show up. For what? He already got you back where he wants you at. Right? So you can't even hold him responsible for that because he never told you. That's one thing that I had to really rewire my mind about. If he didn't say it, I can't assume it, regardless if I think it makes sense and how it should be. That's where we get our feelings so hurt at, because now our mind is telling us all kind of things. Okay, and he didn't show up. He may just be tired from work. Who knows, right? He could have fell asleep beside the road. We can come up with 1,000 excuses. But in our mind, we're thinking, oh, he's with another chick, or he done got what he want, and now he done played me. Now I feel disrespected. I feel stupid. All these scenarios are now playing in your head. And he may have been innocent somewhere. But because you assume he should come back over because you gave up the monkey, now it's like, oh, I feel stupid. So now you got the conviction spiritually, and now you're feeling like a fool in the flesh because you feel like he played you. Now all these different scenarios are going on in your head. Lost my email. Left a whole pack of cigarettes in my apostle. Good, you called your apostle. She had me to repent, confess my sin to God. Good, great for you. Great that you confess. Started my fast. Great that you fasted. I felt like he came back to redo it. So yes, that's why he put it down like that. Trust me. That was the whole motive. That's why he didn't have to come back the next day. He already know he opened you back up again. When you have done a spiritual cleanse, which I always tell people, like from a soul tie, you got to do a spiritual cleanse, like for real. Once you're going to do a spiritual cleanse and you got a person out of your system, soul tie wise, narcissist again is different. That's a whole demonic spirit. But you could be 5 years down the line. But if you mess around and open yourself back up again to a soul tie, the saga continues. Literally. So now you have to start that whole process all over again, which is great that you fasted, so you're on the right track. They do your soul ties. You got to get rid of everything. You need to be. He was in your house. He was in your bed. He was in your car. He was like, you need to be up in there with some holy oil, honey. You need to be up there anointing some things, right? Okay, asking God how to lead you and show you how to do your particular spiritual cleanse. Because again, we all have like a different direction, I guess, of a spiritual cleanse. And stop beating yourself up. Just chalk it up. Take one for the team. You're just going to have to sit in that thing, stop. Here's what and I know what's probably going on, because see, with a narcissist, if that's what he is, they will have your head spinning. So since this thing has happened, you are all over the place, right? And maybe not since you fasted, but a narcissist will have your head all over the place. Your emotions are everywhere. You're thinking about all kind of stuff. Like, they're going to intentionally not call you. This is why you haven't heard from him. The narcissists literally live by a certain strategic, way of living, right? So he love bombed you. You fell for it. And now he disappeared. That's what narcissists do. Now the disappearance is designed to make you think like, oh, I guess my sex wasn't good enough. Oh, he played me. Oh, what did I do? Now it's going to be flipped back to you. Like, what did I do? Did I do something wrong? Now you're going to stop blowing his phone up, because now you want to figure out, what did I do? Please tell me. And he won't even tell you, because it's nothing. You didn't do anything. Well, you did, but you didn't, right? So your best bet, you've done the right thing. You repented. You reached out to your spiritual guide. You fasted. But you're going to have to be intentional about knowing that there is nothing you can do. Go ahead and put that concrete wall up now to say, this is it. I'm not even going to be sitting here trying to bust my brain thinking about if it's something I did wrong. Did I say something wrong? Did I try to make him move too quickly because he didn't come the next day? Don't worry about none of that. Just chalk it up and say, listen, you caught me slipping. Point blank period. You caught me slipping. Point blank period. But leave that thing right here. Then you mess around and took that thing into a whole new year. I just realized, you wait till the whole new year to come in. But that's all right, though. You are equipped. But I know your mind is all over the place right now. I can tell by just reading your email. But forgive yourself, because God has already forgiven you. Now, listen. I forgot about that at the end. You said God has went silent on you. Isn't that the worst? It's one thing when God has went silent on you because he just needs you to sit still for a minute to give you a direction about something. But when you feel like God has went silent on you because of something you did, oh, that is the worst feeling. It's like you want to crawl up under a table and just hide, right? But the question is, did God really go silent on you? Are you hiding from God because you're feeling guilty? So is God really silent? Because God may have already told you, like, listen, I forgive you. Just don't do it again. Point blank period. God may have already told you he forgive you. So is he really silent? Or are you too ashamed to listen? There's a difference. So get back on the path, sis. You ain't by yourself. I mean, I'm not in the mix with that, no, right? But your girl, I've been there. You feel me? Okay. And many of your other sisters who are currently listening and all around the world are going through the same thing. So don't beat yourself up. You are not the scum of the earth. You are chosen. You are forgiven. And you will succeed. Just get back on course. If you gave him the number, change your number again. Anoint your house. Anoint your monkey respectfully. And listen, just, get back on path. Y'all, please forgive me. I'm not perfect. Lord, please forgive me and my monkey sock. Okay. You guys have a great one. It's your girl, Kizzy Rock.